look at how to utilize Illustrator and Photoshop together and incorporate some very interesting text effects. Now, the great part about using these two together is Illustrator is going to allow you to create paths, manipulate paths very easily inside of the application itself, and then you can take that, transport that directly into Photoshop, liven it up with text or colors, graphics, style, and really stylize the text that you have taken and shaped inside of Illustrator, and use Photoshop to do that. So it's a great tool to inside of Illustrator to create the shape, to modify the shapes that you want, then jump that into Photoshop and apply your and stylize it. And that's a nice way to work with both the applications. So I'm going to start with just my my type tool here. So I'm going to click on my type tool in Illustrator, type tool, and I'm going to go ahead and create about a 90 point typeface here. And then I will select just a regular Arial typeface, and I'll type ink. And as it sets now inside of Illustrator, I can't really do all that much to it. I can take the typeface itself and I can scale it, expand it very easily. I can rotate it around, give it some flavor that way. But besides that, I can't do all that much to it. What I want to be able to do is modify the paths that make up these characters. And in order to do that, I want to go over to, I'm going to select my all three of my characters here. I'm going to go to type, and once I go down to type, I want to go down to, make sure I have it selected, go down to type and go to create outlines. Once I've created the outlines for my typeface, notice how it's like I have taken my pen tool and traced along each character set. Now this is great because what I can do now is I can take the my direct selection tool here and I can modify each particular path if I want to. But in order to do that, I want to ungroup these to where I actually have three separate characters to manipulate. So I'm going to select all three of those again, go to Object, Ungroup, and now as I select them, I can click on them individually. So now I can go to the K here, I can go to my direct selection tool, and if I want to drag down on the path here, give this a little bit more character, I can drag that out. I can punch these in. I can do some very quick modifications with the characters. Now these I wanted to ungroup. I want these to be separate too. So I can take these and select them both and go to right click. I'm going to use my black selection tool. Select both of these, right click, and go to release compound path. And now I have them set individually. So I can move that down a little bit, move that up. I'm going to go ahead and scale the in just a little bit. A little bit contrast there. And now what warp tools that I have in Illustrator. Now over here to the left-hand side, one of the greatest tools that we have here as far as manipulation are warp tools. So if I click over here, click and hold, I'm going to see a whole host of just warp tools that allow me to modify the path. So I've got twirl, pucker, wrinkle, scallop, all sorts of great tools over here. So I'm just kind of click and hold, and I'm going to punch those up. Now you may not see the width tool, that's in later versions of Illustrator, but you'll most likely see the others that are options here. So I'm just going to take Crystallize here for a minute. I want to double click on that. I can modify some of my settings here. Click OK, and click right in the middle of this eye one here. I'm going to make sure that that is selected. Go to my Crystallize tool, and I'm just going to apply just a slight crystallize to that. Get some ink. And then what I can also do is take the wrinkle tool and I can modify, make sure that this is selected again. go to wrinkle. And if I was so inclined, I can take this and kind of wrinkle along the edges there with the ink, modify that somewhat. Um, if that wasn't doing it for you, you have a number of other options too. A lot of great options, very cool tools. You've got a pucker and bloat tool too that you can take out parts of your path and kind of pucker it, bloat out pieces of your path here. Sure that's selected. Like if I wanted to do that with the in here, once that's selected, I can push out pieces of that path, kind of pull that in, pull that out some. You really have to go through and experiment a lot with these effects and see what works best for you. It's be great for an O, or if I want to bloat that out a little bit. All you have to do is just select your path itself and then go back to and click the tool that you want to modify it with. Warp, all sorts of great tools that you've got. So you can actually warp and move that path along if you want to, and apply modifications to that. The idea is not to go crazy with it. Keep it kind of simple. Do some slight modifications, whatever you're happy with. You also have the controls up here that I can go into Effect, and I can go to Stylize, Warp Effect here. So I have all these basic warp effects for my text. Scribble is another great one, and I get some really interesting effects with the Scribble tool here. I can do that to all sets of characters if I want to. So a whole host of options. Once you're happy with that, say I can select this. I'll paste this into two sections. I'll jump into Photoshop. So I'm going to go ahead and select this bottom section here, go to Edit, Copy, and I'm going to jump right into Photoshop. Got a document ready for myself, and Edit, Paste. And I want this to paste as a smart object. The reason being is if I want to jump back into Illustrator, make some changes on my path, modify it somewhat, those changes are going to be reflected because they're linked objects if I choose a smart object here. So I'm going to just choose OK. And that will bring in this one here. So I'm going to transform that one just a bit. And then click Enter, jump back into Illustrator, and select this one. Go to Edit, Copy, jump back into Photoshop, and Edit, Paste. Paste this one in as a smart object, and push this one out just, whoops, move my registration point. I'm going to expand the size of that one just a little bit, bring that back down some. And now what I have is essentially, I have these pieces here set up for myself, and then I have the other shape that I've got. So now, great thing about Photoshop is now I can apply my style to it. I can go into my layer styles here, down at the bottom, and I've got a whole host of options down with my layer styles. So once I select my layer style, go into say, start with say a drop shadow, we always start with a drop shadow, and then I can modify that. I can also go into my color overlay. If I wanted a little color here, maybe I wanted to add a nice blue color for my piece here. Add some blue in there. If I wanted to add a particular stroke to the object, I can punch up that just a hair. Then I can go back into the blot that I've got here, jump back into the drop shadow, add that. Add a little bit of the stroke if I wanted to push that in some. I can go back to color overlay and apply any color controls there that I want to. Maybe I want that a little bit orange there. Maybe I wanted to add it to red. Maybe I wanted to add a little bit of various colors to work with, kind of complement what I have set up already. So you've got a number of different options that you can control inside of Illustrator, stylize it. Again, you have your filters, all the controls that you've learned about inside of Illustrator, inside of Photoshop to apply your stylization to your object in Photoshop. So you can go crazy with it. You can do whatever you want to inside of Photoshop, make your controls, modify it. These are separate pieces. You can even separate these three up here if you want to. Really, the sky's the limit. And then if you wanted to jump back into Illustrator, make some changes with your path, you can do that and modify them both. So you've got some great options there with creating some very interesting text effects inside of Illustrator and doing some stylization for Photoshop.